She's like, Ben, you're different. I get it. So you get to make a difference. I sit with my wife to enjoy the film. Before the film's over, there's a standing ovation that happens. And in that moment, I realized that it was all worth it.
Welcome to the High Vibe Life podcast, where we are obsessed with all things manifestation, neuroscience, personal growth, and quite simply, living a life beyond our wildest dreams. I'm Moira Casava, author, speaker, podcaster, manifestation, and mindset master. Since getting sober 25 years ago, I've helped tens of thousands of women break through and achieve massive levels of wealth, joy, and freedom. Now it's your turn. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the show, you guys. I have been so excited to just get in the studio today. We have an incredible guest for you today. My brand new best friend, Ben Kjar, is in the house. Ben, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. And you're just such a light. When we met in Utah, it just saw what a bright light you are. And when you got off stage, I had some dear friends that were just like, oh my gosh, she was amazing. And they were just bawling and they talked all about your speech. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so crazy that you say what you just said, because as I was getting out of the car, getting ready to come in here, I just kept thinking to myself, light. Like, that's the word for you, is light. Like, you are, no exaggeration, Ben, one of the brightest lights that I have ever come into contact with. And I will never forget having just walked off the stage. You walked into the green room. I had just finished. And your energy when you walked in that room was off the freaking charts. I fell in love with your entire family at that event. They were all there. Just such an instant connection. But then I got to hear you speak and I got to hear your story. And I will tell you that I have been a champion of it since the moment I heard it, and I will continue to be a champion of it till the day I die. So I'm so excited to share it with my audience today, and just so excited to have you here. So let's dig into this. Let's pull back the curtain, right? It's really hard for me to I always hesitate to give you the spiel of like, who is Ben Kjar? Da, 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 da. You're so many things. It's almost impossible to put into words. So I'm going to give you the mic on that. Who would you say Ben Kjar is?
Oh, man. Thank you. You're so kind, by the way. Ben Kjar is a warrior of light, period. And God has been gifting us opportunities just to pour into others with love, empathy, understanding. I was born with Cruzon syndrome, and that gave me another level of empathy, another level of understanding to connect with people, not that have Cruzon syndrome, which is a facial difference, but to absolutely pour into and love on people that have gone through hard times. I believe that all of us have moments in our life where we're backed against the corner and we feel like, I got two ways, fight or flight, victor and victor. I'm going to hide or I'm going to stand out, right?
Yep.
Like, what am I going to do? And I believe people like you and other powerful people in this world have been given the opportunity to absolutely pour into those people, to absolutely feel heard, feel seen, so that they can step into their own journey. They can step into their own calling. They can step into believing that, guess what? They don't have to be anybody else's version 2.0. They can absolutely own and flex who they are and shine that genuine, authentic light.
Wow. I literally we're 3 minutes in, I'm already tearing up. This is going to be an emotional one. Oh my gosh, so good, so good. I mean, you make me want to be a better person. I think that is the most important thing that I want you to hear, is knowing you and knowing your story. it gives me permission to live like the most bold version of who I am in the world, right? So can we go back to that? Can we go back to when you were a little boy, born with this, difference in the world? When did you even know you were different? Like, how did that come to be? Like, can you think back to those moments, or were you like, no, I always knew I was, and this is how I handled it? And I know your mom was such an influence in who you became in this process, right? And being able to see, you said it right out of the gate, you became this empathetic person. Like most people, I don't think would have taken that path. And so can you kind of take us back to the beginning, pull back the curtain on this whole story and where it all started?
Oh, so good. I didn't know I was different for a bit of my life because my parents didn't treat me different.
Yeah.
They literally made a decision once they heard from the doctors that your boy is going to live a different life. They're like, okay, let's go. Like, he's going to do the same chores. He's going to have the same responsibilities. He's going to, even though the doctors say he can't do contact sports, we're going to let him decide that.
Wow.
But it wasn't until I was in some moments together. Well, I was in some moments where I wasn't with anybody. I was alone. There's an experience I had, this is talked about in my documentary, where I'm in the grocery store. I'm by myself. I just grabbed my Twix bar, my chocolate that I just worked hard for. I take my change and I'm getting ready to check out. And there's a man in front of me with his boy and his girl, an adult man. I had people, kids, make fun of me. They say the darndest things, right? They're honest, but they're kids.
Right.
It was when the adult absolutely verbally annihilated me in public, when I didn't have the protection of my mom, my dad, or any neighbor, that would absolutely change me. What would happen is he would point at me, grab his two kids, and say, kids, look at this boy. Look at how funny he looks. Can you believe he goes out in public? That's probably why he's alone. He doesn't have any friends. I would fold my arms, close my eyes, and absolutely just break.
Wow.
I started tearing up, and I would just squeeze the Twix in my arms, appetite gone. When I thought it was the worst, he did this. He grabbed his kids, grabbed his groceries, put them behind him, and as he walked out to the car, he said, don't go close, don't go near him, and don't touch him. He's probably contagious.
Oh.
I don't want to have you have that.
Right.
Your life will be horrible. And he leaves. As I went home, I went into my dad's office. Off his office is a bathroom. I collapsed against the wall as I slammed the door in the bathroom. And I tried to figure out a way to take my face off. If I could just get rid of the difference, then life would be different for the better. Luckily, my mom was home, and she came in the door, and I wouldn't open up for it first, and then she breaks through the door, and she just collapses on me, knowing that there must have been something tragic that happened. And finally, I told her what had happened. And right then, in that moment, she just pours into me and cries with me. But then she would do something that would change my life. In the moment that I really felt like I was different and got annihilated in front of public, she picks me up off the ground and puts me in front of the mirror. And she says, Ben, look at yourself. She's like, Ben, you're different. I get it. So you get to make a difference. And then she says, there's going to be a tension just like happened today that are going to come in your life. and you're going to have the opportunity to hide or stand out and shine your light. And in that day, that moment, I started to decide that I could be somebody. I started to have some confidence and flex who little Ben Kjar was. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be on this podcast with you today. I wouldn't. If I didn't step into being me, and if I didn't own Cruzon syndrome, understand what it was, and absolutely just receive it into my life and treat it as a gift and not a curse.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. This is like, I hope everybody can self-identify with something that they feel like is the thing that they keep in the closet, the thing that's behind the curtain, the thing that they believe is the secret, right? That they're not letting anybody see, that is the shame and the guilt and the hidden shadow side of them. That is actually your greatest gift, if you so choose to fully own it, like you said. Wow, what an incredible gift your mom is. I mean, but Ben, like, for you, I mean, how old were you when that happened?
Elementary. I mean, at third grade, probably 8, 9, 10 years old or something.
I mean, it's just a miracle, though, that you could hear that from her and listen and take it and be able to make that shift in your mind to, because you are different, you're going to have this attention. That's going to be like, you can just go, okay, I'm here for it. Like, bring it on, world. And I'm here to stand out. I'm not here to blend in, right? Like, you were made different because you're supposed to make a difference. Wow.
When we realize that when we realize that the world is working for us,
yes,
not against us, when we realize that these lessons and these tragedies and these trials are in fact a triumph opportunity. It's an opportunity to tell the hero's journey. It's an opportunity to know that God doesn't give us hard things because we can't take it. It's to give us more strength. It's to realize that we go to the gym to lift weights to become stronger. These obstacles to lift, to move, allow us to become stronger, more powerful, more as an instrument to share that light, to shine that power and positivity and confidence to the world, because Lord knows we need it more now than ever.
Absolutely. So at this point, you're 8 or 9 years old. Had you had a bunch of surgeries at this point?
I had gone through 2 major surgeries that could have been broken up into like 4 or 5 surgeries, like at a time. So I was under the knife for 2 and, or like 12 hours actually. And I had surgeries, but I would have many more surgeries to come.
Yeah. So 8 or 9 years old, I think the cool thing is here that you don't just think to yourself like, oh, that's a great idea, Mom. I'm going to try to like hold on to that. Like, you have a fundamental belief change in that moment. Like, it's like your belief of like how the world works, why you were created, how you were created, like fundamentally shifts. And I think that's where we always need to get to, which makes it easier, not easy, but easier from that point forward. So what happens when you come up against this again and again and again and again? Because it's not like from that moment on, nobody ever said anything. There were no negative comments. I mean, you've shared with me and you've shared from stage that you still get it. And so as a little boy, though, how did you handle that? Was it just that you had this new belief inside you and you were unshakable?
It started out with that, but that condemned. It's the people that were placed in my life that continually did that. I'll give you an example. My dad grew up wrestling. My mom grew up on a farm. And because during my childhood we didn't have a farm, my parents put us in wrestling. They said, hey, this is going to teach you how to work as if you own a farm. Let's try wrestling. It was interesting as I started, because I had just healed up from these facial surgeries, now to go bang heads with other kids, right?
Right.
So we were cautious about how we kind of went into it. But my parents also learned that if Ben's going to live a life, we might as well let him live.
Right.
We might as well get him out of the bubble wrap, stop coddling him, cuddle him, love him, pour into him, but don't coddle him.
Yeah.
Let him fly. Well, they would let me fly. But as I was striving to fly and learn to get off the ground, they would pour into me. We were to go to the national championships every single year. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to go in a couple of weeks in Philadelphia. It'll be our 26th year in a row with me and my brothers.
Oh my gosh.
And so as I'm sitting, it's incredible, man. We
That's
love
so
it.
cool.
But as I'm sitting in the chair like this, my dad is sitting right next to me. He knew I had a dream to be a college wrestler. And this is the biggest show on earth, the Division I NCAA National Championships. You ask me, did that fundamentally change you in that moment? I would say yes, but the fire gets to be ignited continually.
Yes.
And this is how it was ignited again and again and again. I'm sitting in the stadium, 20,000 people around. Championships happen. After championships happen, the podium is put out and wrestlers are put up on this podium and they give away awards to the All-Americans who are the best in the country. When I'm in junior high and high school, my dad sits next to me in this stadium and he points down at the podium and then he points in my chest. He says, Ben, you belong to be on that podium. He spoke truth into me. He spoke power into me. He spoke strength into me. He spoke hope into me, telling me that, Ben, if you're willing to do the work, you deserve and you can be on that podium. He allowed me to visualize my success way before it happened. I was able to smell it, see it, hear it, what it would be like to be in that moment. So that when that moment came, because it came, it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
When you visualize standing on the beach while you're still in the ocean in the boat and knowing what it feels like, what it tastes like, what it sounds like, when you get on the beach or when you get in the fight in the middle of 20,000 people, it's not as scary anymore.
That's what I was
because
just
you've
going to
already
say.
seen it millions of times.
Yes, the fear, right? There's on the path to our dream, there are 1,000, 1,000,000 things that come up and can take you out of the game so quick and take 99.99% of the people out. But when you have that clear vision, when you've seen yourself at the top of the mountain, you've seen yourself at the end result, you've seen yourself on the podium, it changes the whole pathway to get there. And it doesn't mean it's not still scary. It doesn't mean that it's not hard. But there's just something, there's a knowingness, right? There's a knowingness in your soul that, yeah, I got to put the work in, but like that's meant for me. I'm going to be there. And that's what changes everything. I love that your dad did that for you. He spoke belief, he spoke vision, he prophesized your future is what he did. And that is everything. And what I'm hoping that people hear, especially moms and dads, that we can choose to do this today for our children. And if you're not a mom or dad, you can choose to do this today for your friends, for your brother, for your sister, whoever it is. Like, we need more people in the world speaking life and belief and prophecy over people's futures and dreams, right?
Oh, you are so right. And now more than ever,
Yeah.
the true difference of kids that will succeed in the future are kids that have confidence. Kids that have confidence to be able to go out and do hard things. You are ahead of 95% of the people. So here's my invitation to all you parents, coaches, teachers, business owners. Pour confidence into those who you're steward over. My parents were a steward over me as a parent, as me as their child, and they decided man, Ben's going to have a hard time. If Cruzon syndrome wasn't enough in how he looks, he's like the shortest dude around, right? I'm like 5'3", and I'm lucky I'm taller than my wife, right? And but my parents said, so what are we going to do about it? They put me in clogging to orchestra to band to singing to piano. They put me in every sport under the stars that they knew at that time and was available to allow me what? To find something that I could claim confidence in. If you're a business owner and you're listening to this, yeah, you're not putting your employees in piano or a sport, but put them in a position that they can gain confidence with, master, and thrive, so that when they show up every day, they're the master.
Yeah.
They are confident, and confident people are happy, and happy people are successful.
Absolutely. And I think, and this is your experience, it's my experience that for me, but also leading others, that to speak, leadership over someone, if they're in a leadership role and you want them to rise into leadership, it's almost like you have to show them that you see that in them in order for them to actually show it back to you. Like, you have to speak it before you see it. I think we've got it all backwards, where we think I need to see it, you need to prove to me, and then I might give you a pat on the back. Well, I think it's the other way around. I mean, I'm going to be 48 years old. That sounds really crazy to me. I'm going to be 48 years old this spring, and I still need people that breathe belief and life into me constantly. And I can tell you that all these huge accomplishments that I've had in the last decade are only because I had people in my life say, Moira, like, that's where you're going. Like, that's going to happen for you. And I'm like, really? You think so? And I lived into their belief and their vision for me, right? And so we need that no matter how old we are, no matter what role we're in. I love that you're calling people out for this and calling them up to it. Will you share some more of this story? So what happened in that wrestling championship, Ben? What happened there?
Oh, man. You know what? I absolutely believe in the power of calling your shot.
Yep.
Just like Babe Ruth stood up to the plate knowing that he struck out way more times than he ever connected, he still pointed at the fence in front of tens of thousands of people and called his shot. I believe we can do that in life. I believe we can choose to have absolute standout experiences as long as we're willing to be disobedient to average and work for it. So what do I mean by that? I mean that when I went to Utah Valley University, transferred from Oklahoma, we took third in the country. We were a powerhouse, but God spoke to me and said, Ben, you're supposed to start the program at Utah Valley. I show up to Utah Valley. I follow my heart, not my head.
Yes.
I follow what I felt like I was meant to do. There's a lot of times, of course, we'll go out and we'll just do what this tells us. But somewhere along the way, our spirit, our soul knows there's something more. And so I begrudgingly, for a while, said, man, why am I going to Utah Valley? They're a dinky school. They just barely got a program. Didn't even have a wrestling room, coming from Oklahoma, where we were top in the country. I called my shot. I said, I'm going to be Utah Valley University's first ever All-American. In my locker, I put a picture of the podium that I had taken when my dad had put his hand in my chest and said, Ben, you belong on that podium. And in my locker, I put that, and I wrote All-American, Utah Valley University's first ever All-American. And then in the moment where it counted most, I spoke that truth into my own soul just like my mom did. We fly out to Philadelphia, and we show up in the middle of the story of where Rocky Balboa told this iconic story that Sylvester Stallone did so well. I go where we have our national championships. I am unranked, guys. I had a poor conference tournament. I am unranked.
Wow.
My training partner says, "Get on your sweats. Let's go. You got to make weight tomorrow." We run to the top of the steps where in the movie Rocky, he turns around, he overlooks all of Philadelphia, and he says, "I can beat the Russian. I can beat the guy who I'm not supposed to beat. I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to say, watch me, and I'm going to stand out because I was born to stand out."
Yeah.
That's what I did. I did the same. And that next day and the following days, I beat guys that I was never supposed to beat on paper. ESPN and Sports Center coined me as the Cinderella story as I went on to be Utah Valley University's first ever All-American.
Oh my
And
God.
that moment would change my life.
Wow. 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 Oh my gosh. That's amazing. How many years ago was that?
2011.
2011. Man. What a Cinderella story. I mean, there's no other way to put it, right? I mean, so many components there: vision, belief, the work ethic, the drive, the commitment. I mean, the tenacity. Like, there is so much in you. And I think we would probably both agree that if you were born totally normal, you wouldn't have all that in you, right? So there's the gift. There's the gift. So many gifts come with what we think are our biggest hardships. Ben, this story, your story, I mean, it goes on and on and on. Like, it just keeps getting better. I am so excited that there's this film, right? Can we talk about this for a minute? Because I know when this podcast drops, it's probably not going to be available for people yet. But tell me about the film. Tell me how it came to be and tell me all about it.
You know what? I got a call a couple of years ago, January 2023. And I just got off of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. I get my phone and I have all these missed messages. And I listen to one of them, and it's a guy named Tanner. And he says, "Ben, I haven't seen you since high school. I just want to tell you I have an incredible idea. I want to pitch you on something." And I'm like thinking, holy cow, I got to listen to this. And so I take the phone call, and he said, "Ben, me and my dad are filmmakers. I've worked hand in hand with Jared Hess, who did Nacho Libre, Napoleon Dynamite. We're now working on a film called Minecraft, which is a $200 million film with Jason Momoa and Jack Black." And he says, "We haven't done a lot of documentaries. The last one we did, I worked on personally," he said, "was with the American Gladiators, and we sold it to Netflix. Are you open if we give this a whirl and we tell a documentary about you?"
Wow.
And man, I wasn't sure what to say. So who's going to watch this documentary, And you immediately think,
I mean, if
man,
I'm
what if
crying just hearing you tell me about it, I can't imagine what you felt like in that moment. Wow.
Oh, man, it was a moment of, do I shy away or do I step up and choose to stand out a little bit? And for the last 2 years, we've been working on this film. And we just launched in Hollywood last week as our world premiere. We sold it out. We got an award for it. And we're now in multiple film festivals, one in the Midwest, one I can't announce yet that's here closer to my house. And
I think
for
I
the
might
next
know
4
what
to
that
5
is.
months, for the next 4 to 5 months, we will put it out there to the world. And I'll never forget having the documentary play in Hollywood. My friend, I didn't know he did. I'm standing at the back of the room, and I'm just terrified of how strangers, how people who know me will react,
Yeah.
thinking, is this the real me? is this because you can always tell a film better than what the real person is. I'm like, are they going to think this is genuine?
Right.
Are the strangers going to connect with this? They don't have Cruzon syndrome. They haven't wrestled. Are they going to connect? And for the first half of the film, I'm just folding my arms, terrified in the back. Halfway through, after I see people wiping their tears and connecting and locking in, I go and I sit with my wife to enjoy the film. Before the film's over, there's a standing ovation that happens. And in that moment, I realized that it was all worth it.
Yeah.
To put myself out there, to talk about the really dark times in my life that, frankly, I don't know if I wanted to tell, so that other people can be seen,
Yeah.
so that other people can be felt, so that other people can say, oh, yeah, you too? Yeah. He can go through it. I can go through it.
Yeah.
If they can achieve and overcome and stand out instead of hiding and being a victim, I can be a victor and I can step up and I can choose to shine my light and stand out too. And so we are so excited. Shortly after, in the next 48 hours, Yahoo Entertainment picked it up, NSN.com, AOL.com, and it's just been absolutely overwhelming to see that they see me, to see that they recognize that this is a story that should be told around the world. Oh, man, it's like so humbling.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, I just applaud you for continuing, right? Continuing to, for lack of a better word or expression, step into the ring. Like you have stepped into the ring a million times in your life, literally and figuratively. Like you just keep doing it. I can only imagine. You know, it's one thing to live boldly and to just, you know, be on stages like you are, share your story, but to do a film where they have to pull back the curtain on your deepest, darkest feelings and thoughts and what it was really, really, really like. I mean, that's talk about exposing kind of yourself at your most vulnerable. I mean, that is your biggest stepping into the ring. And this film, it's going to change people's lives. I mean, it already has. Amazing.
I learned a while ago as I was being told to speak, and I didn't want to speak. I read a book called Good to Great, and it talks about the levels of leaderships, levels of leadership, and it talks about the top level being the leaders that are the most vulnerable. And coming off a mentality of wrestler, black, white, get it done, a little bit of a military mindset, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Men show emotion? Are you kidding me? That is the understanding of yesterday. Men, if you're out there and you're hiding your emotion, I'm going to tell you to knock that off.
Right.
When you hide your emotion, when you don't allow those feelings to come to the forefront, and then choose to champion what you do next. I fully believe that in our darkest of times, the feeling that we feel is not the bad thing. It's what we choose next that defines our legacy, our destiny, and who we really will be known for. I tell you what, when I was invited to be vulnerable on stage, you do it so well. When we choose to be vulnerable, we are now allowing connection to happen. You, my friend, got up on stage in Utah, and there were people that were there that just absolutely couldn't talk about you without tearing up. They said, I now feel like I'm understood. I now feel like I have takeaways. I now feel like someone else gets it.
Yeah.
And she said, if I can do it, you can do it. You do that. You do that through your podcast. You do that through speaking on stage. And this, my friend, is what I call a living journal.
Yeah.
These are legacy plays. Long after you and I are gone, my friend,
Yep.
this is going to be here. This technology is going to be here. to forever tell your impact and forever tell your story.
I love that. Love it so much. You speak so eloquently about that moment, right? Where I believe when we choose to hide and not be vulnerable or stuff the emotions, like that's where things like addiction or infidelity or all of those toxic, horrible things come out because we're hiding something, right? We're not being true to what we're really feeling. Just like you said, it's what comes after, right? The pain isn't actually exposing the feeling or being yourself. The pain comes from the action that you take that is so unhealthy because you're trying to numb the feeling. Oh my gosh, so good, so good. Ben, where can people find you? I mean, I need to say this. If there is anybody listening to this, Ben is one of the most captivating public speakers I have ever heard by a long shot. Like I have heard dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens. I go to events all the time with, 20 speakers in a 2-day stretch. You are one of the most incredible public speakers I've ever heard. We know you're going to be on a stage with Tony Robbins. It's happening. That is like, duh. There's just not even a question. I see that 100%. But where can people find you? Where can they find out more about maybe kind of linking in so that when the film does drop, they know where they can go see it, all the things?
Social media is best. I mean, I think here on my screen it shows my name, Ben. Last name is Kjar. You pronounce it Care, like Care Bear. Follow me. Like, I want to be friends with you. And more than anything, I just want to pour into you.
Yeah.
I just absolutely just want to cheer you on. I want to see you call your shot. I want to see you live.
Yeah.
Life is not always about feeling good. It's about feeling. It's about feeling alive. And those who fly, those who choose to spread their wings, feel pain because they learn how to fly at the toppest of heights. But we also learn how to crash the right way.
Yep.
In order to get back up. And so I would love to follow you, social media. If you want to follow up on the film, standoutfilm.com. We'll keep everybody up to date with where we're at. And I just want to pour into you and just be a huge cheerleader for you.
Oh my gosh, so good. Well, we will link all of that in the show notes. So everything that Ben just talked about will be below. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put it there as well. And here's my ask. If you're listening to this episode, if you've heard this, share it on your social, tag Ben and I, share it with a friend, just push this out as wide and as far as you can. Go see the film the second you can. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be incredible. And if you can see Ben on a stage, get your butts there because it's an experience to say the least. It is so good. Ben, thank you for just shining your light in the world. I feel so incredibly honored to know you. I'm so grateful that we get to speak life into each other's lives. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being in my life.
Thank you for making me feel so good. That's a superpower that you have.
Aww.
It really is. You make people come in and feel so welcome and so good, and they leave elevated. So thank you so much. You literally made my day. Thank you.
Absolutely. I feel the exact same. Well, guys, like I said, go share this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.